In 2007, a high school student started her YouTube channel as a way to procrastinate her GCSE exams. After posting a video with tips on how to be featured on YouTube, she quickly amassed 4,000 subscribers from that video, which then became 100,000 the following year, and then became the first UK YouTuber to surpass 1 million subscribers in 2011. But would being the top YouTuber in the UK be a blessing or a burden? Welcome to Rewind Time. This episode, Charlie is so cool like.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Welcome to Rewind Time, a YouTube history podcast about the platform's notable creators and the influence they have. It's hosted by YouTuber Lucy Livin and myself, Max, someone who is not familiar with the history of YouTube. This episode, per the introduction, is on Charlie is so cool like.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a break. We'll address it at the end of the episode. But
keep the juicy parasocial stuff to the conclusion. We've learned well from our
we should do a clickbait
YouTube
thumbnail. Be like,
where we've
why
been,
we returned to YouTube.
why I left. Yeah.
See, I'm learning all these tropes.
Wow. I mean, the intro will have to change to the intro soon because you really are starting to know quite a bit about YouTube, I feel.
Well, about the years 2007 to 2010, which is not very helpful in casual conversation. But we'll get there eventually. Look, we spoke about Charlotte in the Dan and Phil episode from the context of they are a creator that we have discussed covering on this show, but in the early 2020s, Charlotte privated all of her old videos for the most part. And unlike other creators who mostly privated their videos out of shame for doing things like blackface, Charlotte naturally has a very good reason to do so because in case you didn't pick up or don't know and are not familiar with what she's been doing lately, Charlotte is transgender and she privated those videos naturally because they are her in not her present gender. And obviously
they're not representative of who she is. Yeah.
And it's hard to be confronted with that when your videos are very popular. So for like obviously a very understandable reason, those videos are not public on her channel. And that presented us a conversation that we had about how we would cover this appropriately.
Yeah, and whether we wanted to. We kind of went back and forth on it because, you know, we with some other channels where they've privated videos, for, like we mentioned, sometimes those other reasons, which tend a lot of the time can be a bit more unsavory. We feel like that kind of is within the remit to cover in terms of it being internet history. Whereas in this case, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, and we've ultimately come down to the point of view that to not cover like Charlotte and like her influence on the platform,
her contribution.
Yeah, it effectively would like remove her from history, which I don't think would be an intended outcome of her just privating her videos for her personal reason, right? So I think that we have an obligation to acknowledge the, like per your intro, like a very influential creator, and there's a way that we can do it on this podcast without causing anyone any sort of uncomfortable feelings, right?
Yeah.
And the way that I think we'll approach it is naturally we won't use any imagery or any recordings of Charlotte from prior to anything that's not public on her channel at present, or on her other like forms of content like Twitch and her podcast and things like that. We have, of course, watched some of the content that is still on the internet from this time.
I should also say I have watched Charlotte since, I want to say like 2011 or something like that. So I actually, for this video, I actually didn't need to watch much content. Like we watched a little bit together, but I actually don't really need to because I have long time been a massive fan of Charlotte and her work. So
that does bring us into our typical opening now that that little disclaimer is out of the way.
Yeah.
You were a fan of Charlotte at the time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about when you would point to in terms of you discovering her channel, because she is one of the earliest YouTubers, and I think that the start in the 2000s is probably a bit too young for you. So I assume you came on later. Do you have an idea of when?
I want to say it was 2010 or 2011.
Yep.
But it's hard to say. I looked back at my YouTube account history, and you can see who the earliest people you're subscribed to are through going through your settings. And a lot of the people I subscribed to, I think my earliest ones were 2013, and I know I watched YouTube earlier than that. So I actually have a theory that I had a separate like Gmail or YouTube account, and then I made like a different one, and that's the one I went forward with, because I subscribed to like multiple people on that one day. So it makes me think I was like watching people and then like made a new account. Anyway, all to say, I think I was watching Charlotte from 2011.
Yeah.
She's probably one of the earliest YouTubers I remember watching. And I believe I also introduced her content to my younger brother, who also followed her. So
do you think maybe you created a new Google account with the Google Plus thing where you had to have your real name on your account? Because I have done that, I think. Or maybe it's a different account.
I also think I potentially could have used my high school email.
Oh, and you lost access?
No, I think I maybe was going into like for our overseas listeners, like my sophomore year, so year 11.
Yeah.
I think I was going into year 11, and I realized that if I wanted to keep my account and like access to it, I'd need to make it like an actual account with like an actual Gmail that I owned, rather than like my @edu.au address. So I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched her probably since like the very start of my like watching YouTubers on YouTube era.
So and this is obviously quite rare for this podcast, had consumed Charlotte content unknowingly recently, because Charlotte now, spoilers, is a podcaster, fellow podcaster.
Wow. Friend of the pod, Charlotte.
Exactly.
We're all the same.
She is active in sort of the, regretfully I know about this, the millennial comedy podcast circuit.
Don't say it like that.
As a wannabe Gen Z, you know, this podcast.
Yeah, you're a millennial. Be a proud millennial. You're proud
anyway,
to be
so
a
I heard
millennial.
Charlotte guest on the podcast Doughboys promoting her podcast, and was like, oh yeah, okay. I know Libby, who's her co-host, and I was like, okay.
This diva seems cool.
Yeah, this was a podcast episode, and then somehow we discussed this in terms of doing this episode, and I was like, this person seems familiar, and of course then I looked her up and saw that I had listened to the podcast appearance with her, and was like, yeah, had no idea that.
Well, because you're an audio podcast listener. You don't watch.
Yeah, no.
Okay, because I'm like a video podcast person.
Yeah, and that is very Gen Z of you.
I mean, this is literally a video podcast. Hey everyone, watching on the video pod.
If you're a video pod watcher this week, might not be as many fun things on the screen as per usual, for the reasons we stated up top. So audio heads win out this time. But yeah, I don't watch podcasts. So yeah, naturally I didn't have the visual confirmation. But even if I had watched it, probably wouldn't be helpful, because Charlotte obviously looks quite different now to when she made content, right?
Well, we started by watching her most recent videos on her channel, or the only 2 videos that remain on her YouTube channel. So I feel like you worked it out pretty quick.
Yeah, I worked it out ages ago though, not for this episode.
Oh no, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back to the early videos though, because we start at the beginning for this podcast. And in Charlotte's case, the sort of breakthrough inciting incident is called "What is the best way to get featured on YouTube?" And it's a video from 2007. And it's everyone talks about it in terms of like, oh, you know, I had less than 150 subs, and after it I had like several thousand, which in those days is obviously a much bigger deal. And the video was actually featured on the YouTube homepage, and I watched it expecting it to be sort of like a satirical take on the guides, like we've seen from, I want to say, people like Shane Dawson, where it's like exaggerated. Or even Dan Howell, he did a version of this.
Smosh, Shane Dawson, they've all done these sort of like tongue-in-cheek tutorials.
But it's like fill in a basement type stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be like that. But instead, we are treated to a quite sincere guide about how to actually make a video that will be featured on the YouTube homepage.
Well, I don't know. I think it's a mix. There's still...
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I feel, I mean, it is... She is giving sincere tips, but it is also like there's like a humor to it. Like there's a quirkiness to it that makes it really quite endearing.
Yeah, I think you get a very developed sense of Charlotte's like comedic stylings from this video and like sort of the vibe that they bring to the channel. It's not like obviously it literally is a step-by-step guide, but it's not without humor. Okay, there are like jokes and things like that. But it is to some extent, they do go through things as procedural as don't use copyrighted music in your video because it's problematic from a legal point of view.
Yeah. They're talking about actual like algorithmic tips or reasons. It's almost like reasons why YouTube wouldn't feature your video.
Yeah. Well, you can probably give more context than me, but YouTube's homepage was manually curated at this point.
Yes,
right?
It was.
Yeah.
Or yeah, to my understanding, it was manually curated. So there was a person pushing buttons. So that's probably why it was also like ironic that they titled, and that was actually her final tip in the video was title the video how to get featured on YouTube.
Yeah.
And she made a joke about like, well, I actually don't know if that's going to play or not, but we'll see. And also the person who was manually pushing the buttons clearly thought that was funny as well and chose to feature it on the homepage. So probably that exact reason. But what did you think? What was your impression of Charlotte's, I guess, like a vibe in this video?
I thought that she was pretty funny.
Yeah.
However, there was an element to it. I just thought that the humor was funny from a nostalgic point of view in that, like many of our creators, it was problematic. And I was like,
oh, I forgot.
That endears me because there is a joke that it plays on homophobic concepts, but not in a way where I'm like, well, this needs to be cancelled. And it's complicated by like the person making it and obviously their subsequent journey. So I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's allowed.
Look, as we discussed in like the Dan is on fire episode.
Yeah.
Dan also makes multiple jokes about being gay. Actually, so does Shane Dawson. In fact, there's a lot of, and I'm not saying it's always the case, but there have been multiple occasions where YouTubers who have subsequently, come out, have maybe had a history of poking fun at or really, really choosing to engage with, like the joke of being gay as a possibility. I don't know. That's a
look.
Maybe
honestly, it might just be a cultural thing. Maybe everyone was just super into it in the 2000s.
To be honest, I do think like that era of like 2000. It would have been like 2009 or something for us, like that middle school. But we were probably younger. I don't know. There was a period of time where everyone was being like saying gay as a like pejorative, and that's why there's the Hilary Duff PSA thing where she's like, when you say that's so gay, do you know what you say? Have you seen that?
No, but I understand the message.
Yeah. Shout out to Hilary Duff. Hashtag stuff by Hilary Duff. Love you, Hilary Duff.
I did like the section where Charlotte is like, you need to do some sort of rap and then does the like white person rapping sort of cadence, which has obviously been like a mainstay of this series so far. A lot of early YouTubers
some successful in their white people rapping, some less so. You have your Bo Burnhams, and then you have your...
His rapping was also bad, remember? We did not like it.
No, what about The Lonely Island?
Oh, wow. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, The Lonely Island. What an episode. Anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about with just this first big video? Or do you want to move on to how to be English?
Let's talk. I have some overarching sort of things, and I'm sure I'll weave it in somewhere. But I actually think how to be English might be a good place for me to slot in my.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that this and how to be English is a nice sort of early Charlotte video wrapper, and we can talk about the similarities and things. For context, guys, how to be English is also sort of a mock instructional video. This one is. Still step by step, but it is much more exaggerated in that it is not a guide that would be helpful for anyone because it is how to make a cup of tea. And of course, Charlotte does make a cup of tea in this video, but they're playing like a very, very exaggerated English stereotype.
Yeah, she's being like a she's almost doing like a royal family, like received pronunciation kind of situation. I just want to say, I thought this was really funny. This really tickled me. You weren't as into this one. It's not, maybe it's because you're actually British. It's too close to home.
Well, no, but I don't really get it because the audience, I imagine, was like English because like Charlotte went on the BBC to do interviews about this. Like it was a big deal within the UK.
Well, okay. She was kind of like the first big YouTuber in the UK, but YouTube was and is still primarily the largest audience is the States.
Yeah.
And in this early period, it would have been. And that's why so much of her early content is, and kind of her, like kind of in the middle, like a lot of her content is like, there is this, I would say it's almost a pillar of her channel is being British, like her brand is the Britishisms because a lot of her fans were from the States. So I actually don't know if I totally agree. Like I think people from the UK would find it charming. And like, please guys, comment below if you have any insights or inputs, if you know, did watch this video or if you were a fan and where you're from. But I think actually the reason for its success was because this was also, and we can kind of tie this in, like Doctor Who was popular. She was right on the start of that wave of like kind of like the new British wave of pop culture. And so Americans, I think, just from my time on the internet and like Tumblr and One Direction, all that good stuff, Americans are like fascinated with the British, being like, you guys speak so funny, drinking tea, like we don't own kettles, like all that kind of vibe.
The American power system just completely mocked by the electric kettle.
Can I just say, as an aside, Americans still seem to struggle to grasp the concept of hemispheres.
Oh, that's not just America though. That is also all the northern hemisphere.
The amount of times where I will say something like, I'm coming into summer, and people are like, no, we're not. And I'm like, I don't live there. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
This they also could be Brits as well.
No, it's not. No,
but by
sorry.
population, it's the same as you're saying. The audience is American because there's so many of them.
But the centrism of like being like, but we're the only place, or people being like, summer Christmas isn't a thing, or like, I don't understand it. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you not understand? It's different. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off topic. Because we're coming up to Christmas, it's been popping up again recently where I've been like, it's going to be Christmas and it's hot, and everyone's like, Christmas is cold. And I'm like, for you. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, back to how to be English. This one, I just didn't really, it was just, for me, it was just light on, and as you said, maybe it's just because I guess
you're British.
but not really more than you. Like we are Australian, so it's like closer culturally.
Not really more than me. Your family's from the UK.
Yeah, I've lived here for
your parents
quite a while.
Speak to me with British accents.
Okay, I just
claim you're British.
It just felt light on jokes to me. And I was like, this is cute, but no. And it's a 20-year-old YouTube video. You know, this is like many things we watch. No. I'm not expecting it to be the funniest thing I've ever seen.
No, I think it's like a sketch. It's like such a good bit. I think it's really funny.
Okay.
With the expressions that she's doing throughout the video and like the way she's like holding things, it's like it's like a caricature of being British. And I think it's funny because I think people watching it would have been like, this is legit. Because it is a legit way to make a cup of tea. But like, also.
Oh, sorry. I am now kind of understanding. If you're an American viewer, you might literally not know how to make a cup of tea because they don't drink tea.
Yes.
And that is like a foreign concept.
And it's funny because you're doing like almost a comedic tutorial, but it's still true, but you're kind of being like silly about it.
Yeah. Okay.
And so someone could also watch that and not know who she is.
Yeah.
Like not have the context of her being like, I need to look up this tutorial. And it's like an insane, but also still legitimate tutorial. Kind of in the vein of the video that, you know, blew up. It's kind of funny and it's a bit silly, but it is also still legitimate advice.
Yep. Yeah, no, completely fair.
Wow. I'm like, I'll fight for this video.
What did you want to say about the early videos overall?
I just wanted to say that I think the Britishisms, or like we've previously discussed, like the humor of British YouTubers, I was very drawn to as a teen. Again, I think the similarities between British humor and Australian humor, more so than like American humor and Australian humor, that like the sarcasm, the tongue-in-cheekness. And also at the time, I believe I was 14 or so, and some of these British YouTubers, I had a bit of a crush.
Oh, some of them.
Some.
How many?
This one.
How many?
I don't know.
This one is notable.
Yeah, I remember being like, wow, Charlotte is so cute.
Wow. Did you ever think this about Alfie Days?
No.
Well, it's interesting you say that because when I was looking up videos to watch, a video simply called "Is Charlie Really So Cool Like?" appeared, and I looked at the person that had published it because the thumbnail just was a child, and it was the verified account Alfie Days, and I was like, I know who Alfie Days is.
With over 4 million subscribers.
Yeah, that's Zoella's husband.
That's I'm Not a Tory.
I'm Not a Tory. And I know that from this series. I haven't even seen any of his videos. So I clicked it and we watched it. And it is, I will describe it as like AI SEO content before that existed, because all it is Alfie sitting in like an attic.
A child Alfie, by the way.
Yeah, a child Alfie.
Clearly like a 13 or 14
This is from 2009. He is in, but isn't, how old was he when he started dating Zoella?
I don't know. What, are you trying to figure out?
Well, he just can't, surely he can't be that young here.
I mean,
because it's only 16 years ago.
Well, he looks like a fetus.
Yeah, confusing. Anyway, he's in like an attic and he goes to the camera and he essentially does, there is a YouTuber called charlieissocoollike. They make comedy videos and other types of content. And then I was like, oh, here comes the analysis. Here comes the rewind time isms. And then it's just like, the content can be funny and also it can be instructional. Let me know if you like Charlie Is So Cool Like in the comments. End of video, 1 minute 30.
Obsessed.
Has 700,000 views.
Growth hacking diva.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alfie Days.
Like, it's very Mr. Beast coded, actually. That's the type of thing where you'll go on his channel and it'll be like the video I made to myself like 10 years ago.
There's a timeline where Alfie Days could be British Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
No.
So,
for good reason.
For the good.
I will pull us back to Charlotte's content though.
Anyway.
And we should discuss Challenge Charlie, which is the
Challenge
series
Charlie.
that Charlotte made when she hit 25,000 subscribers, which back in the day was a huge deal.
Hey, still is a big deal.
Well, yeah, you already hit 25K, what? Last year? Yeah. Anyway, not at 25K anymore, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, this series...
I'm at 19,000.
Yeah.
I lost 6,000 subscribers.
Per the title, this series is inspired by the YouTuber What About Adam, who had the series called Challenge Adam. And Charlie was like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to do it. And then she, referenced that it was a play on that. But as the title suggests, she gets challenged to do things by her viewers, right? There are some notable ones in this series. In terms of things that would affect the channel later on, the video Dyeing My Hair Red is a big one.
I remember watching that. I remember watching it.
Yeah, and we've seen creators later on do sort of like crazy makeup routine. I'm dyeing my own hairstyle
like
content.
Beauty Guru.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this one was, from watching, I was not getting the sense that Charlotte had done much hair dyeing before because the outcome is, how would you describe the red
I
hair?
think it looks good.
Whoa, okay.
It's
Wow.
iconic.
Oh, that's yeah, I agree. It's
What do you mean? It's the colour that it is.
I agree it's iconic.
If you get a cool toned red hair dye, it's going to look like that.
Yeah. It definitely would stand out on the street, which was probably the point. But
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think this challenge style of video, and we will, I don't know, I'm so excited to cover BritTubers, but this challenge video became the cornerstone of this era of YouTube and BritTube as well. Doing a challenge or challenge videos is its own whole genre, which I don't think we've really actually watched that many of up until this point. But they would do things like dyeing my hair challenge, waxing my legs challenge, chubby bunny challenge. You know what the chubby bunny challenge is?
Yeah, I think we've watched something like that, but
Yeah.
I know what it is. We've talked about it on this podcast.
What is it?
You like put a lot of stuff in your mouth and it makes your cheeks go like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, you're
I don't know what you put. What is it you put in?
Marshmallows. Big
Oh,
marshmallows.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But things like that. So this is like, and very iconic YouTube style with like lots of jump cuts, very tight editing. Like the whole videos, I think, is less
and you can shit on zero budget in your own house.
Oh, I
like
thought
the
you said you
perfect-
can shit on zero budget, and I was like, I won't be doing that.
No, it's like the perfect filler video type.
But there's something about it as well which feels very. You can see how Charlotte built a big audience and fandom, because there's like a parasocial, like it gives like, you know, hanging out with your friend on FaceTime. Like you call your friend, they're like, I'm actually just gonna dye my hair right now, and you're like, oh my gosh, and you're just chatting. It's very, I don't know. I was watching this video and it felt very nostalgic to me, of like very reminiscent of a specific era of YouTube. Very iconic.
Yeah. This is around 2013 because we get a Later Challenge Charlie video, which is my American accent, which was one of the most popular videos on the channel prior to it being made private.
I wonder why.
And as you said previously, yes, it does kind of speak to the size of Charlotte's American audience, people who are requesting, as she says in the video, for me to do my American accent. And she does.
She's so good.
Oh, okay.
What?
Wow. Yeah. This was another video where I was like, this is a video. Someone doing an accent is not inherently funny to me, but I think
impressive.
it's endearing for some people.
Okay,
You know?
for some people, me. I lapped all this content up as a 15-year-old. I was like,
But
Let me
can't
see my-
we all do an American accent
Can
because
you?
of cultural imperialism? Can I do an American accent? Let me give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie was responsible for the creation of FiveAwesomeGuys, which is a well-known YouTube channel.
yeah,
How was that?
it's all right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt watching this video.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I have my my American accent went away after
Yeah.
my although apparently I went to international school, guys, not to be that person, but I had an American accent until I was like 9, or I started developing one. My parents got scared. I think I said something, instead of saying ball, like
Yeah.
a sports ball that you play with,
Hmm.
I said ball. And my mum was
Ooh.
like,
Gotta
yikes.
stop.
I said
We
something
gotta
like,
stop that.
oh, can you just throw us back our ball? And mum was like, okay. She's like, I must divorce your dad and we must move back to Australia because of this reason and only this reason. Anyway, but I think the concept of accents is like enduringly popular. Like,
Yeah.
because it is that idea of like, oh, well, I know what my accent sounds like. I can't wait to see this person do it.
But there's a limit to it because it's like cute to do me doing an American accent, but what if I did a video going like my best Chinese accent?
Well,
No one's going to be like, yippee, that's funny, right?
I mean,
So-
I think we actually did find a channel and a video that someone who does
yes.
actually exactly
Yes.
that. And it's not
honestly a unique content creator. You don't say that every day.
I remember watching it and they fully just ran. Here's the thing, on paper, in a perfect world, if we lived in a vacuum, not problematic. However, they also used I remember actually, oh my gosh, I remember
So we
watching
have
this.
to give context. This guy, he says he's like a linguistic channel, and
Yeah, and that's legit.
You will actually be able to find it if you look him up on YouTube because it's quite easy. He's very popular, but it is like I'll do the English language in like 80 accents, and then it's giving. I actually think he's English. I've never been outside of the UK.
No,
and I'll
that's
just do
not.
my best impression of
No, I
the
think
racial
that
stereotypes of that country.
My favorite thing is not that they do. So they do in English, they speak English and then do the accent in English, right? But
Yeah.
for each, instead of just saying the same phrase over and over again, they choose to
Yeah.
change the phrases to things about racial stereotypes.
Yeah.
Like instead of just being like, oh, I went to the store and bought some like milk, they'll say things like, oh, I went and got some sweet and sour chicken, and
Yeah.
like just, or like I went and got
Yeah,
curry,
look,
and it's like insane.
Crazy stuff. Accents are weird.
But hey, once again, early to the party.
podcast is about Charlie is so cool like, and briefly we will touch on and not really address the collaborative group 5 Awesome Guys, which Charlie was a part of. inspired by FiveAwesomeGuys, which was like a shared vlogging channel, which itself was inspired by Vlogbrothers. I know all these things now. And the members of FiveAwesomeGuys was Charlie. It was Fall of Autumn Distro, Johnny Durnham 19, Neramon, and Toddly00. Out of them, Neramon is the person that is probably most relevant. They're known as Alex Day, and they were someone that Charlotte had a content and personal relationship in terms of they were friends, but there is a lot of controversy about Alex Day that we do not need to get into.
No,
Suffice to say, they're not. They don't make any content. They haven't for a long time together.
Briefly, I'll just say I was, I think, introduced to Alex through Charlotte, and I watched Alex's content, and then I stopped.
And that is all
we will say.
On to something more lighthearted, the music part of the channel. I actually thought this was my favorite Charlotte content.
Yeah, you were very into it.
Yes. So if you haven't heard any of the songs, and alas, thanks to a copyright claim by Carmen on an earlier episode where I played a snippet of a song, I cannot include music in this podcast anymore.
Wait.
But you should look it up because
Shout out
good.
to Carmen.
Thank you, Carmen. Your white
Carmen.
people cover of hip hop songs just as important to the rights holder now as it was when you released it in the 2000s.
Thank you, Kaveen Haverby.
Anyway, the music that Charlotte does is very akin to if you've seen the songs that Hank Green released for like Vlogbrothers and his personal channel. If you've seen the style of musical comedy that Bo Burnham does, two creators we've spoken about on this channel. The ukulele is the most prominent instrument that Charlotte
British
plays.
YouTuber with the ukulele.
Is that more than one?
I don't know. It's just YouTuber with a ukulele.
I was just thinking of Rent Sings.
It makes me think of Dodie.
Dodie. Okay.
Girly pop.
Yeah.
And not British. John Cozart.
Okay.
The YouTubers, the millennial YouTubers with ukuleles.
Completely over my head, but
that was me doing
actually,
my cursive voice.
The millennial, well, they're probably Gen X, but there was maybe one millennial at school. The teachers had a ukulele club, and they would play ukulele together.
I remember that ukulele club.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Was my brother in it?
Anyway,
I think my brother was in the ukulele club.
Maybe he was. I never saw a uke at your house though.
We definitely had a uke. It was like a little blue one.
That's swag.
Yeah.
But anyway,
did you guys play Riptide?
Did you guys? I wasn't in ukulele club.
Yeah. Do you wish you were in ukulele club?
No.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I probably was. But the ukulele, is the main instrument here. And the most notable song for me was Duet with Myself, which is a song where Charlotte does multiple takes to allow her to basically, as the title suggests, duet with another version of herself in the video. Like we're sitting across from each other, but it's two Charlottes. And you're like, well, first of all, that's a neat camera trick, but also the song is about like a examination of her insecurities. So it's almost like you get to speak to your inner self. So that's like that's just like very smart in terms of like YouTuber music. I'm like, oh, there's actually like a meaning here. Yeah. And like the sort of the instrumental uke backing singer-songwriter stuff, that's like stuff that I like in my personal music career. Like all these people are influenced by like the Mountain Goats and like musicians that I like. So I was like, oh yeah, this is my stuff. What did you think of the music?
It was good.
Yeah.
We don't share the same exact music tastes, but I like Riptide. I like a person singing with a ukulele. I think that's charming. I'm more into like pop and K-pop. So it's not like my exact, but that's not in terms of personal preference, but in terms of do I think it's good? I think it was great.
Yeah, Charlotte, I think, actually released all of these like singles as an album, which is quite cool. And I want to shout out, given it's December, In the Absence of Christmas, which is the first song we listened to of theirs. And I was listening to being like, this is like some of the best YouTuber music we've listened to.
Wow. High praise.
We should put In the Absence of Christmas in the Christmas playlist and see if Nicola noticed.
I was about to ask you.
Ask me if we could put it in?
I was going to ask you if you would add this to your Christmas playlist.
Yeah, I'm not really a Christmas music guy.
You want to talk about your Christmas music trauma?
I'm just the Grinch.
Yeah,
I'm actually Scrooge. I'm actually so Scrooge.
We were playing. It's technically YouTube. It's YouTube related.
Yeah, sure.
There's a YouTube. There's multiple stuff. There's multiple YouTube channels that do like. I don't know if it's AI. I don't think it's AI.
No, it predates AI.
It predates AI. They do, but it kind of gives. It's like a robot.
Yeah.
But it's like YouTube. It's like movie trivia. They're like YouTube trivia channels, and you can watch them, and it basically you can play like Jeopardy or trivia or like whatever. And so we were wondering what we were going to watch on TV or watch on YouTube last night, and instead I said, why don't we play trivia? So we did a round of movies, which you being the IMDb letterboxed freak of a man that you are.
That's not sorry that I have taste.
It's a bit beyond.
Sorry that I'm culturally literate. Like, what do you want me to say?
Right. Well, it would show like 4 seconds of each movie.
3 seconds, bit.
Right. Yeah. To my point. And you would just guess each movie. It was insane. Anyway, you won by quite a bit.
Yeah,
then
I was on probably 40 something, and you were on like 20. So
I don't think we need to say, but that's okay. A lot of them were like war movies. Anyway,
but having said that, you got a lot of my favorite movies before.
That was really funny,
which is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, owned. Anyway, but you won, so really I was owned. But we also after I lost, I was like, let's do the Christmas edition.
No, I picked it.
Oh, all right.
Because I was like, this is
like
something.
How we're having like a couples.
This is something that you, I think, will be more well versed in than me. Like, this will be a fairer.
And I did win because I do. Yeah. I'm a Christmas girl. But Max did guess every single variation of A Christmas Carol. So anything you were literally like Scrooge mentioned.
It's the only good Christmas story to be honest. Because you relate.
Also, your Christmas trauma is in relation to your family playing a radio channel called Elf Radio for like 6 weeks every year of your life. And so and I've been to your home while Elf Radio is on. It's really, there's a lot of Christmas music. I like it because I like Christmas music. But if you're not a big fan, it's like you're listening to Michael Bublé every day.
I grew up in a family where the radio was just on all the time. And prior to noise cancelling headphones, you really couldn't do anything about annoying noise in public spaces.
Living with your family, living with your parents is a benevolent dictatorship. Yeah. And sometimes not benevolent, but in our case, it's benevolent. And so, it's not up to you whether or not you listen to Christmas music. You will listen to Christmas music. The spirit of Christmas will be inside you.
I have a very normal take on Christmas music where it's just like, if it was good, we'd listen to it for the rest of the year.
I would. I would listen to Christmas music.
Nothing's stopping you with Spotify. Anyway, so yeah, really like that song. Really like Charlotte's music. Moving on. Around obviously the time where we have like a significant mainstream media coverage of Charlotte as like the most popular British YouTuber, first one to hit 1 million subscribers, there are those sort of opportunities to cross over into like mainstream culture. And I think the most amusing one from our perspective was when I believe that Charlotte is a presenter at the BAFTAs in 2010 or potentially some other sort of British TV award show. And she presents an award to the In-Betweeners.
Which we love.
The cast and crew, of the comedy show about 4 like awkward high school British boys.
Is there a Christmas episode?
Surely. Ooh, there's the episode where it's like the party at the end of the year, but that's not Christmas, is it? I don't know if there is a Christmas episode. Honestly, I haven't really returned to it since the era.
I feel like it could be due for a rewatch. It's so good.
They made an announcement that's coming back.
That's why we need to be ready.
Nah, we'll watch the new one when it comes out. Don't want to, and also it might not hold up like this podcast. We don't want to go back and find out that things we liked are actually bad.
Filmed in Australia.
Yeah, in Brisbane, where we're from.
Wow.
In Queensland, I guess.
So crazy.
Anyway, so yeah, look, it's funny. Also, of course, you get to see her meet Piers Morgan, which I'm sure in hindsight was not something that anyone enjoyed doing.
I don't even think in hindsight. I think even at the time.
Yeah, he didn't really let Charlotte speak at all in the clip we saw.
Evil man.
Just basically was going on, I can't do Piers' voice, but he was just like, my family says that you're the biggest deal.
Shut up, Piers.
It's like, okay.
Anyway.
I know nothing about you. Anyway, yeah, of course, our feelings on
Always
Piers
so
Morgan
funny.
are clear.
No, whenever mainstream media are just being like, what are you, like when they just do like belittling comedy about like, are you from the internet? And it's like, shut up. Anyway. Sorry.
One sort of remaining sort of tenet of early Charlotte is
that a pun?
Is her fandom of the BBC show Doctor Who. One of the, central, I think, elements of being like a American teen that's obsessed with Britain. What are they called? It's like weeb, but it's a there's
a teaboo.
Yeah, a teaboo. Yes, I knew there was a word. Being a teaboo, it's one
Member
of the main
of the Super
things.
Who-lock fandom, except Supernatural.
Yes.
American.
Sherlock.
Yeah, I know about
Supernatural.
I know about that.
So
Tumblr.com.
Charlotte's a massive Doctor Who fan. She does Doctor Who content in terms of she's involved in like a band that does Doctor Who themed rock music, all this stuff that is like, wow, that is so 2010.
I think something really endearing about Charlotte is that Charlotte does have quite like nerdy interests and is actually very much a like kind of ambassador of like, and I say this with like niceness, of nerd culture. Like, does she wear a t-shirt that says nerd on it in a video? Yeah. But like, I actually think that's quite charming and speaks to the fandom of very early YouTube and like internet, where you can watch YouTube and it's like you're watching these really big talented creators who are like, yeah, I like the same things you like. Like, I think that's actually so wholesome and sweet. Do you not?
Yeah, look,
like,
there's an element to which I'm, as we all know from listening to the show, I am not a fan, FAN, but I certainly am. Like, yeah, like doing the music, it's
I think,
a cool creative pursuit. There's nothing in. I'm not being like it's wrong.
No.
But I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I think sometimes we forget now, given that like, children when they're interviewed at school, like, what do you want to be when I grow up? And they say like, oh, I want to be an influencer. Like, I want to be like Mr. Beast, right?
I want to be like Lucy Liven.
But no comment. But YouTubers, or like being an influencer or content creator or whatever you want to call it now, is considered like a cool thing.
Yeah.
I think generally, but at the time it was not, and it was considered like a weird thing to do. Like you're kind of a fringe, or like you have like a weird hobby.
Yeah.
Especially prior to it being like legitimized and with being paid. And so I actually think, Piers Morgans of the world are like, and you're one of those internet people. I don't know. I just wanted to highlight that Charlotte was really a kind of ambassador, I would say, of like a content creator in terms of, and an ambassador for that like era of having like those nerdy interests and being like genuinely interested in even like academic interests and pursuits. Like she later went on to do like weird science, cool science,
fun science, I believe.
My bad. Things like that, which I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, took us off down the garden
path. That's
okay.
Bit, I think I'll pick up on what you're saying about being an ambassador, because I think that it's, well, when I was also going about Doctor Who, it's just also there seems from a Doctor Who fan perspective that they do not have the enthusiasm for the show that they did in the years following the reboot in 2010. It seems like it is in a very difficult place now. So I'm more just like, I don't even think, and maybe they're still out there, but it doesn't seem like there's a fan care level that would make a music movement now.
Doctors, I want to say it was like Doctors 9 to 12.
Okay.
Were the ones, I was on Tumblr at the time, were the ones that people really invest in. I think that's right. It's David Tennant,
Matt
Smith, and then the one after that, Peter Capaldi.
Oh, I feel,
But like not really.
I feel
It was
like when
it's
Capaldi
mostly
came, people were
yeah.
like, meh.
I think it's mostly. I remember the most like gift sets
Yeah.
of David Tennant.
They're
and
like,
Matt
when
Smith.
the doctor's not hot, why am I watching this show?
When they're like, when it's not a little British
yeah.
man with brown hair.
And they're like,
I
we're
don't-
never making that mistake again. All the doctors are going to be hot now. Anyway,
baddie doctor.
but yeah, so essentially all of this culminated in Charlotte was involved in the production of the Doctor Who reboot and presented segments on Doctor Who Confidential, which was like the after show for Doctor Who. So after Doctor Who aired, you could watch the like behind the scenes, doing little skits with the cast.
It won a fan.
Oh yes. So Doctor Who Confidential was cancelled, sadly. I think just given obviously it's very niche and that it's a show you have to watch Doctor Who to then enjoy the spin-off, you know?
it's a fan.
Exactly. And it's like a thing where there's probably like we have what's the word? We have online communities to do that for us now. We don't need to produce it ourselves. And so it got cancelled and people were like, oh, we need to like save this with a petition. And Matt Smith was like, let's bring it back. That's like every 2010s TV cancellation. Like I was doing that for Community. But in 2013, the Doctor Who Confidential was voted the best BBC Three show of all time. Which is
I don't know what other programs were on specifically BBC Three. Like if they
Yeah.
had 3 channels of programming, like maybe.
yeah, I don't know if a behind the scenes of another show.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, look, just respect to the fans, you know.
The hooligans. No.
The hooligans.
They're Whovians.
Oh, Whovians. Yeah,
Whovians, yeah. I was just making a joke.
Okay.
Yeah. Ha, 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 ha.
But yeah, like obviously getting to see Charlotte give a badger to a very game Matt Smith in some sort of cold field where they're filming an episode. He does seem, and of course he's an actor, so is he being genuine? But he does seem actually quite excited to receive his Christmas present, which is a badger puppet, which is expressly he was like, I want a badger.
I think if I had a puppet,
Yeah.
I'd be quiet. It's pretty fun to have a puppet.
Yeah.
Have you had a puppet?
No.
So fun.
I will say it was getting quite close to like, oh, I love this puppet. I'm gonna name it Bob. That type of
No.
millennial,
Well,
the
okay,
millennial
but
humor.
like Matt Smith or
XD.
like no, but that is literally the Doctor.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
like
yeah.
why these people get cast to be the Doctor. They're like, do you have like British whimsy? Like they're just like, ooh, a spot of tea for the end of the world. I don't know. I just made that up.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
gotta be
guys. I
real.
shouldn't be derogatory. Sorry. I feel like
I haven't watched Doctor Who.
I have like
I've tried. It's not for me.
my brother's a fan of Doctor Who, so I've seen some secondhand bias, but I have some like anti-Doctor Who bias because when I was on Tumblr, I found the Doctor Who fans really annoying. I'm sorry. Because I was a Sherlock fan, so I was like associated like in the kind of mixed Super Who-lock fandom, but I found the Doctor Who fans, they would just make everything about Doctor Who. And I was like, it's not actually, I don't know, sorry guys. I don't hold any ill will. I understand why you like the show. But there are annoying fans in every fandom. But I just noticed a lot of them on Tumblr. Anyway,
Yeah.
me just digging myself into a hole.
You mentioned.
I like some episodes of Doctor Who.
Oh, okay. We don't need to litigate Doctor Who.
Some of it's good.
Look,
I like Karen Gillan.
The magic of Doctor Who is there's 50 years of it, and so no one listening has seen all of it. So they can't say that it's all good. So
Some of it's good. Some of it's bad.
you mentioned it before, but later on in the 2010s, Charlotte does step away from YouTube and becomes less of a frequent uploader. It sort of coincides with her interest in pursuing a career in screenwriting, which is what she will later do when she stops uploading to YouTube in around 2018. Prior to that, though, yes, she did do the series, I want to say Fun Science. This is something I could not find any archive of. Potentially, it was called something else. It's a science-based series. It seems like there was a spin on it.
I remember it.
You remember it? There you go.
It's really well made content. Where Charlotte kind of tackles like scientific concepts. It's a bit Hank Greenish.
Yeah,
I would say a bit Vlog Brothersy in terms of doing like a bit of a deep dive into maybe like a more complex topic. And I remember the videos being very well produced as well. But I also remember at the time being, I believe, like I was a middle schooler or something. I was like, oh, this is cool. But like I was one of the subscribers who was maybe more there for the like personality based content. And this was kind of more of a like, it was almost akin to being like a TV presenter talking of a science show. It was really well done stuff. And I remember watching an episode or two being like, wow, she's done such a good job. Like, it's really well made. But I also remember thinking like, but I'm not really, this isn't really the content that I'm here for. Me personally.
Yeah.
And she has since spoken about in her more recent videos that she's uploaded. Someone did ask, oh, are you going to do more episodes of Fun Science? And she was like, oh, like, I'm not really interested in revisiting that. But also, like, they didn't perform that well.
Yes.
So that's Fun Science.
Yeah. It also had an accompanying book.
Oh, YouTuber book.
You can still buy. There is one copy available on Amazon that's new hardcover. It is $50.
Yeah.
And
Hardcover.
it features the original cover, which is very much a pre-transition Charlotte. So I'm not quite sure how the print situation on that will be resolved. I imagine there's only one copy because it's out of print. But yeah, there is a book and there is going to be no more Fun Silence for the time being. So let's put that to bed. You mentioned the 2 videos that are currently on the channel. So it's where I think we should pick it up, because in 2023, 20th of January, we get a new video on the now called Charlotte McDonnell YouTube channel, which just says, what happened to charlieissocoollike, a reintroduction Q&A. And the thumbnail of this video is Charlotte as she currently presents. Naturally, the subscribers of the channel, if they're not following her, will be like, okay, that this is obviously a big deal. And yeah, this is the video where she's like, I am comfortable discussing that I am transgender and I will use female pronouns, and here are the boundaries that I am going to set with my audience. And then we get a sort of Q&A video, which we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, were you subscribed at the time? Did you see this video?
I'm currently subscribed and I did see this when it came out.
Yes. Was it a shock to you? Or did you know prior to this video?
I don't think I knew, because I believe Charlotte announced it on Instagram potentially either around the same time or potentially earlier.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. This video popping up in my subscription was a surprise to me. But I have been subscribed to Charlotte for a really long time. Like the video popping up was a surprise to me more so because Charlotte hadn't uploaded in like many years. So I was like, oh my God, she's back. And then I didn't hold any, kind of much like we talked about in the Dan and Phil video, where I'm like, if a YouTuber doesn't discuss certain elements of their personal life, it wasn't so much that I watched it and was surprised or anything like that. It was more so that I was like, oh, this is a thing now. Good to know. I'm really happy for her. Slaying as per usual.
Yeah, and also worth noting that Charlotte is active on Twitch these days, and at the time was already streaming on Twitch. And so if you were a subscriber, what do they call them on Twitch? It is subscribers,
it's a sub.
If
I think people call it a sub.
Yeah, but you follow channels, right?
If you were a viewer...
Yeah, if you're a viewer of her
Charlotte's
Twitch channel, you would obviously know all of these things already. But the massive subscriber base that she had obviously weren't. So this video would have been a big deal. It received news coverage, just given that, Charlotte has a media profile, especially in the UK. But there is a significant amount of life updates in this. She's now living in Toronto, I believe. She's still there.
Yeah.
And
I remember that she'd moved to Canada before.
Yep. And she says that she might do more YouTube, but isn't completely set on that. And spoilers, there isn't really more YouTube.
Fair enough.
But she also does address, like we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, that she is going to private, or she has privated all of the old videos. And it's actually it's quite nice, and it's kind of something we've spoken about, where she does say, I like appreciate that these hold a lot of like nostalgic value for all of my viewers, and I am not sure if there is a way that we can preserve that doesn't involve me essentially having to like see a sense of like induce have dysphoria from seeing, you know,
Her old.
exactly.
Well, so because yeah, if she keeps them on the channel, and because when you have YouTube Studio, which is like how you know, like if you're a creator, you often have YouTube Studio. It's an app. It's where you can see all of your comments. It's just like it's a good creator app, honestly. But I still will get served comments on old videos that I made years ago or a long time ago, and people will be talking about them as if they're like current. And so I can only imagine for Charlotte, who is a creator of like quite a large magnitude and is very popular. And also by whenever you make new content, it brings people to go back through your channel. So yeah, I can imagine that if she kept those videos up, if she ever went in to look at her creator studio, or even just went into her account and looked at her notifications, she would see people commenting on her old videos. And even if people weren't intentionally being harmful, like that could be quite upsetting, and like a cause of dysphoria. So I totally get why she chose to private all of them. But I think it's like you said, it's nice for YouTubers to have that conversation and like kind of explain why they're setting certain boundaries with fans. I actually think she also discusses like some other things about her personal life where she says like, I just don't really want to talk about that right now. I might down the track, but for right now I don't want to talk about it. I hope you guys understand. And I think that's like, yeah, very sweet, very considerate, because I think it's very easy to write off your parasocial relationship with your audience. But I think Charlotte understands that, like some of the other creators we've talked about, it is like a bit of a two-way street. You have to understand that, you know, people think they know you, and don't necessarily mean harm by it.
Yeah, of course. Later that year, we get our most recent upload on the Charlotte YouTube channel, which is just the clues that I was transgender, which is another like Q&A video, and you get the sense that it's sort of just another sort of life update for the subscribers, because there naturally is discussion about her personal history and moments where she sort of recognized her trans identity, but there's also a lot of more updates about screenwriting and what's going on Twitch, and potentially plans for more YouTube and other things like that. So it is sort of like a vlog, but obviously in a Q&A format. And that is the last upload to the channel.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that like Charlotte has other projects, like she wrote a series for Quibi, R.I.P. If anyone remembers what Quibi was, it was their vertical video app where they made like TV shows in phone format that flopped. But then now it seems like everyone just watches like vertical video, like dramas on TikTok.
Oh my gosh, wait, can I have a subscription to one of those for Christmas?
No.
What? No, I really want to be into like, I really just want to get into one of those like really horny short form series. Are you like, you're aware of these?
I don't think anyone needs more time on phone.
But I just, you know, what if it's like my billionaire boyfriend is my wolf alpha male breeder?
Yeah.
What if I need to know?
Look, you're allowed to buy gifts for yourself for Christmas.
I also see auditions for those shows go up all the time, and I sometimes have intrusive thoughts. And like, not that I have the confidence that I would get this job, because I'm, you know, obviously not a legitimate actress, but I am like, I fantasize. I'm like, what if I
think given your social media following, you probably have a better shot than many legitimate actresses.
No.
I think that's what they're casting based on. They are social media forward shows.
I just think it would be such a fun thing to be in one of those shows. Like, they're just so
All right,
They're
Lucy
anyway,
is a
sorry.
fan of vertical
Bring back Quibi.
scripted content. And
Sorry.
yeah, nowadays you have Charlotte doing a podcast about Britain specifically with
Personal brand remains.
celebrity guests, and you also have her Twitch streaming where she has an audience, and I imagine potentially there'll be some more screenwriting in future, but we don't know. It's obviously something that's very difficult to, as we know from the episode that Dan did, you can write a lot of scripts and a lot of people can be very encouraging until they have to put money forward to fund anything, and then they evaporate. So yeah, there could be some updates there. But that is kind of it in terms of our content discussion for Charlotte's channel. I did want to say that... Sorry, go ahead.
I think I just need to bring up the iconic outro.
Oh, yeah. I'll play the outro now.
You've just had the almost imponderable joy of watching Charlie Is So Cool Like, which makes you like cool.
So in case you didn't recognize that voice, that is Stephen Fry. What's Stephen Fry's deal besides being an old geezer guy?
He has an iconic voice and he was on QI.
Loves doing a narration. Have you seen like a documentary?
Yeah, obviously an iconic British presence to endorse another iconic British presence.
Yeah.
It's a very
I wonder
iconic
how
outro.
it came about.
I actually
Couldn't
don't
find
know,
anything.
but I remember the first time I like heard it, I was like, that is so, like I immediately was like, that is Stephen Fry. I was like, how slay.
Imagine we orchestrate a meeting of you and Hugh Jackman in a room and you get him to do the outro to the Lucy Live-In channel.
Okay, if you could have anyone do the outro to Rewind Time, who would it be?
I think Natalie Tran, to be honest.
Really?
And I think she's gettable.
You're really crazy for that one. I don't think.
You don't think we'll just one day see her in Sydney and I'll very politely be
her?
like, hello, Natalie Tran. You might be shocked by this, but I've recorded a podcast episode about you.
I don't think that's a
Have
good
you
way to go
called
about
It's
it.
Rewind?
I think that's a horrible.
Have you heard
You
it?
don't think it should be Pitbull?
What? Why would it be Pitbull?
What do you mean, why would it be Pitbull? Have you heard the intro to our podcast?
Huh?
What? We use
Will Smith.
We sample Pitbull in our podcast intro.
Yeah,
you know
but
that.
it's Will Smith. Wouldn't it be Will Smith? He's already the
Yeah,
outro.
well, it could be either. Okay, sure. Natalie Tran. You think it should be Natalie Tran?
Back on track. Sorry.
James Charles.
Oh, that's swag. Shane Dawson. The
Onision.
the video. Sorry. The legacy of Charlotte in terms of being a YouTube creator. Can we please discuss? I would just like to note that a lot of the YouTubers we have watched included her as one of the reasons that they got into YouTube. Most recently, I want to say one of Dan Howe's videos, he had her listed as a creator, and I am sure that, I can't remember exactly who, but in other Draw My Lifestyle videos, Charlotte's channel came up alongside people like Smosh and Community Channel, like we mentioned.
I mean, if I did one and you asked me who my earliest YouTube people subscriptions were, she'd be in mine. Yeah, she's iconic.
Yeah, and just in terms of mannerisms and how she presents herself in terms of the comedy, the style of jokes, there's a friendliness to it that
It's so warm.
Yeah.
So endearing. So, yeah. You can understand why there would be such a strong parasocial relationship built. It's very inviting, I would say, is a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I definitely, and obviously they made content together, but we've spoken about Vlogbrothers in this episode, and you do get I think a similar vibe from the Greens.
I think they have a similar ethos about why they do YouTube. It has the same kind of like a why. Do you know what I mean? Same purpose.
Yeah.
That kind of element of connection. Nerd fight.
Definitely
Nerd fighter Rhea. Nerd fight.
Definitely from Hank's point of view, John is more of a I'm going to show my FIFA team type of man. I'm a serious artist. I write books. But yeah, I definitely see what you mean with Hank.
Yeah. But anything else to add? Shout out to Charlotte.
Only, I would say, another YouTube OG who has gone to the retirement home that is Twitch. Much like Ryan Higa and others, it's just, again...
No, the YouTube to Twitch / podcaster pipeline.
Yeah. Not many. I feel like the podcast thing is like, obviously very notable recent examples aside. I feel like a lot of the YouTubers don't stick with the podcast format.
Yeah, it's sort of like a way to do content that's less performative.
Yeah.
It's like a bit more chill.
Yeah.
I mean...
But I just think the numbers, like, it's much like, I know we just spoke about it, but when Ryan Higa was like, I'll do other stuff, but it doesn't perform, I think they get psyched out by the audience for long-form podcasting is much smaller than it is for, like, shorter YouTube videos. When you're trying to
bring your audience over rather than building an audience from scratch, and they have something to compare it to.
There are 100,000 Lucy Living heads, and
not quite.
They're not that many that are interested in rewind time, and I don't blame them, to be honest. It's very different. But
I think people just think, why would a man be there? And we have to respect that.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Angel.
But yeah, so yeah, anything else that you want to talk about Charlotte in this episode?
I think her red hair looks really good.
The old red hair.
The current red hair.
Oh, the current red hair.
The warm toned red looks so good.
Yeah.
That's my diva.
And yeah, that is the end of this episode of Rewind Time. And we talked about it at the beginning, but naturally it has been a bit longer than usual between episodes.
We've fallen into the YouTuber trap.
Yeah, look, the irony.
We have an upload schedule, and then
having a piece of content go viral and then immediately ghosting.
How do you feel? Do you feel like a real YouTuber now?
Yeah, I understand what they're going for. The comments, I definitely appreciate everyone that leaves comments, but I did explain to Lucy, and she didn't really understand this until
I watched it happen real time.
Showed you, I was like, wow, the recent episodes of Rewind Time are getting a lot of attention. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I love that.
Actually, crazy of you
it's
to
kind
be
of scary to be
perceived.
Have people listen to the podcast you create. Naturally, it's a good thing, but it's just like...
it's like
does
kind of the outcome that most people want.
Yeah, my initial natural reaction is one of like apprehension. I feel like it's going to go wrong. But, I'm working on that. Podcast is helping. You're already suppressed that because you're a public figure.
I am not.
Lucy has been very busy recently thanks to the dual consumerist events of Black Friday and Christmas. So you had a lot of work and a lot of sponsorships, and your channel has been very successful over the past few months, and it's led to a lot of really exciting opportunities. And guys, let's be candid. The podcast does not make money. And Lucy Living Enterprises has rent to pay. So
look, it's more so that, just being candid, every November for every YouTuber, actually, if you follow other YouTubers, I'm like, let me bring it back to the concept of the podcast. A lot of YouTubers will talk about November and December as being big months, mostly because the AdSense revenue goes up because it's a time where more advertisers are spending more money with buying ads around YouTube because of things like Black Friday, Christmas, holidays, all that good stuff. So you're going to see they're fighting over the ad space more. So that means, goes up. It's like Ticketmaster demand pricing. But also, generally it is a more of a peak time if you are a YouTuber like myself and you make content that fits in with sponsorships for like beauty brands or fashion brands, things like that. So historically, November has been my busiest month, but it's not been too crazy. But as Max mentioned, I feel like I'm talking about this. I feel like I talk about it really clinically because I think if I actually sit in it and think about what's been happening, it is like actually a bit scary and I'll like start crying or something. But in a good way. It's like a good thing. But the growth of my channels like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram has meant that I've gotten a lot more opportunities, and historically I've been able to say yes to everything and have it not be a horrendously challenging undertaking. But this time I was pretty booked and busy, and I'm so grateful, and I'm like so happy, and I had some really awesome opportunities. I got to do some like MCing work, which I love doing. I got to work with some really cool brands that I've had like kind of on my dream vision board, so I'm like so thankful. But yeah, I had a lot on.
Yeah.
Had a lot on.
Yeah.
Couldn't really do a lot else other than
work
for the month. So
So
Max, my beautiful, stunning co-host, and also my boyfriend, now that we've done our launch in our previous episode.
soft launch.
Hard launch pending. Max very kindly let me shirk my podcast duties.
Yeah, and given it is the silly season, can't say exactly when the next episode will be. So while we respected the weekly release schedule for say 6 months, we're going to step into the chaos schedule for a bit.
We're in our intermediate YouTube era. Yeah.
And look, guys, the weekly release thing it's a holdover from legacy media, and this is a podcast about new media. We don't need to do, Sexual Wednesdays.
You're referencing Jenna Marbles?
Yeah,
wow.
even Jenna stepped away from upload weekly. People, if the content's good and it arrives in the For You page, they'll just be like, great, new episode, let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there is something to the comfort of like a podcast being like, oh, it's this podcast day.
Oh, I love it, but alas, we do not have limitless time.
Anyway, all to say, yeah, don't worry. Podcast isn't going anywhere. We're still doing rewind time. Famous YouTuber, last words. No, sorry, touch wood. But yeah, we're just getting a little bit more loose with the schedule. Getting loose because of Lucy's.
Yeah.
Ness.
Okay. Well, with that, at the end of each episode, we talk about what we have been enjoying that week and what we're subscribing to. Lucy, what are you subscribing to this week?
Look, inspired by recent research for the podcast, I'm subscribing to Dan and Phil.
Dan and Phil. You mean the podcast or Dan and Phil, the YouTube channel?
A bit of column A, a bit of column B.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
really
Hard
enjoying
launch.
the recent content. I think the podcast is really fun.
I'm also listening, yeah.
Yeah, so good. And I'm also loving the new main channel videos. I love seeing them do almost like a bit of a Good Mythical Morning type of content, the lifestyle content. I love the a rat picks our meal, like a mukbang video where they ordered like different kinds of delivery food. That type of content I love. It's like some of my favorite type of content, and having some of my favorite YouTubers return to the platform in such a big way, it's like truly a Christmas gift. Not to be parasocial about it, but I'm like, it's actually bringing such enjoyment to my sub box on YouTube.
All right,
What about
Dan
you?
and Phil.
What are you subscribing
I am
to?
subscribing to The Chair Company, which is the Tim Robinson show on HBO. I have been avoiding Tim Robinson stuff just because I don't really watch a lot of sketch comedy. And I just have been like, I just don't really get what the deal is. But I have sort of been backdoored into it by The Chair Company, which is like a sort of a comedy drama with like a very absurd comedic sense, right? It's like a 70s conspiracies thriller parody almost. So it's quite difficult to explain, but it's very good. It's definitely the funniest show that I have watched this year. And then it's led to us watching a bunch of his sketch show for Netflix.
I think You Should Leave.
Yes, which is also really good. And I'm like, wow, I'm really late to the party on this one. But yeah.
You also mentioned that you think you'll like him.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of myself in his comedic perspective.
Gonna
I think
elaborate?
a lot of people do. No, I think from an identity perspective, people can look at me, they can look at him and be like, oh yes, that makes sense. So
Sometimes things happen and you go like, fuck.
dropping the F-bomb.
It's at the end.
That is not how we're going to get featured on YouTube.
It's at the end.
Anyway, but yeah, so I'm subscribing to the Chair Company. That's it for this episode of Rewind Time. Please leave comments on either YouTube or Spotify. You can rate and review us on those platforms as well.
Let's get to 15 Spotify star ratings.
Yeah, sure.
Goals. We're bringing back vintage YouTube. We're getting to goals. We're doing goal setting.
Yeah, I love it. So do that. And otherwise, we will be back in the future with another episode of Rewind Time. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.